Hi guys, James's Car Tutorials here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm with the Mercedes EQS. This particular one I have on loan is the business class and it's also the SUV model. More on that in just a moment. We're going to go through the usual things today, guys. We're going to have a quick exterior tour first and then we're going to go right into the interior. There is a ton of tech on this car and I am half debating whether to split this into a two-part video because I can imagine we're going to be here for quite a while. This is as luxurious without going into your Maybach class of EQS. This is the most luxurious SUV Mercedes that they currently make. Going to start off with the usual angle approach, going into your headlights. So Mercedes now have the digital LED headlights. There's another way of them saying their full matrix technology. For those that have seen my other videos, you will know how much I champion the matrix technology. For those who do not know how they work, the system, the headlights talk to a camera, which is just up here. You've got your camera systems in there. They monitor the road ahead, they know where the cars are, and it will adapt to not only just the low beam but also the high beams, so that for example when your full beams are on, instead of shutting off the full beam, the beam pattern goes around the oncoming traffic rather than in the driver's face, meaning you have maximum illumination. You can keep the full beams on nearly all the time and you do not dazzle other drivers. It's an incredible piece of technology and I personally think more cars should have this technology as standard. We are in sort of a headlight war. You're always hearing people saying headlights are too bright. If all cars had this technology, I think we'd be all right. Just one thing to note in here as well, you'll see that there's this little light in there. That's your cornering and side light. So when you turn the wheel left or right, that light will illuminate and it will just give you a little bit more light sort of to the lefts and the rights of the car. Just going to go back a bit. Obviously you've got a really big Mercedes logo on the front. Obviously being an electric car, it doesn't need anything in terms of grills. When you go in, you get this nice gloss black, and if you look really closely, you've got little Mercedes logos on there. Being an EQS, you get the full LED light bar that runs the entire, you can just see it under that little bit of silver there, that goes along there. Going down, as I said, there are some vents, and you've got a little vent in there which will be for your cooling, and then there is another little vent in there which will just be for the cooling for the front electric motor. This is the 4MATIC, so you do have it is four-wheel drive, motor at the front, motor at the back, working together, four-wheel drive. It's not permanent four-wheel drive. It will, depending on, so if you're in eco mode, normally it will start off four-wheel drive to sort of get you going, and then it will decide whether it needs rear or front-wheel drive. Obviously if you force it into other modes, we'll get more on that when we get into the interior. Moving down to the wheels. The wheels on this thing are humongous. Well, they're 21, at least 21. Absolutely huge. Decent depth on the tyres. Obviously, being an SUV, you've got really nice sort of thick tyres that will last quite a long time. Actually, while we're here, we could just have a look. So this thing's got air suspension, so you can sort of see the inner workings. If I can focus it a little bit more, you've got air suspension on there, which is very comfortable. What I quite like, well, first of all, actually look, EQS, your EQS on the side is telling you what mark of Mercedes you're in. This little flap down here, when the car's unlocked, if you push it, this is where you put your washer fluid, your windscreen washer fluid. So you just pour it in there and that fills up your reservoir. It's got a really big reservoir on here actually, so it will last you quite a long time. Just going to step back just that little bit. Well, this car is very, very long, so I'm just going to let you have a look at the profile. So although this is marketed as an SUV, it's sculpted, obviously being a fully electric vehicle, it is sculpted in a way to be as most aerodynamic as possible given its size. Just going to scroll back in. They're not poked out, oh, they have poked out now. You've got your door handles. Very nice. If you just sort of zoom in, Mercedes-Benz door handles on there. At night they do illuminate, so you've got a little sort of like a ring going around the handles there. Very, very good at night. I'll try and include a photo just so you can sort of see what they look like at night. You've got your tread plates down at the bottom. As you probably see when you, let's just open the door, there's quite a lot of car you have to climb over to get into when you're actually in the car. So this sort of tread plate here is quite handy, so you haven't got to, I've got quite long legs, but for those who obviously haven't got as long legs as me, you know, it is quite a lot of car to get into, so that tread plate is actually really handy. Just over here, this thing has got a panoramic sunroof. At the moment I've left it open just because, you know, although it's March, it's actually getting quite warm now. You've got tinted windows in the back. They're not limousine black, but blacked out enough, especially in the white as well. All the black and the white actually looks really, really good. Obviously back wheels, and then scrolling round to the back again, you've got the light strip that runs all the way around. If I just move in a bit, Mercedes, they've given you these, what they call their 3D light effect. Again, I'll try and include a photo of some sort either on here or on my Instagram, just so you can see how well that looks at night. And then EQS 450 4MATIC, obviously electric car, no exhaust pipes, so you just get what's under there. Moving back around, obviously it's the same on the other side. You've got your charging. Let's just show you this. So that is your charger flap. So you've got AC and DC charging, depending on whether you want to fast charge it or just sort of charge it using your own point at home. Range on this, so this is actually one of the best cars in terms of electric range. On the saloon version, you're looking at, you know, definitely over 400 miles, which is really good. Mercedes definitely have come a very long way with their battery tech, and you know, Mercedes are rivaling and in some cases having more range than what you would do on, let's say, a Tesla. Moving back round, there we go, and we are back at start. Something I have just forgotten about to talk about these headlights, because they're the digital headlights, they can project certain images. I can't show you right now because it's daylight, but they will project animations in front of the car. Again, I'll try and do a video of that. I might have to ask if I can borrow a video from someone else if I don't have time to do that, but that is really, really clever as well, and it's just sort of something to basically sort of tell your friends, just makes that vehicle feel that little bit more premium. Right guys, as I said, we're going to go right into the interior now because there is a lot to talk about. Right guys, so we're in the interior of the EQS. Now obviously being an S-Class Mercedes, you get a premium, really luxurious interior. I mean, let's let the video do the talking. This particular model, you get the hyper screen. So as standard, you get your central infotainment screen, which is more of a rectangle in the middle. This particular option, which is spec'd on this demo car, obviously you get your digital driver's display anyway on the front, and then you get a massive central infotainment screen, and your passenger also gets a infotainment screen, both obviously touchscreen. Basically that lets the passenger, when there is a passenger in the passenger seat, that screen will come on and it will let your passenger control features from the central infotainment screen. They can also, if they've got things like Bluetooth headphones, they can watch TV while you're driving. It's a really, really good system, but more on all that in just a moment. Going to start off with the usual interior angle of approach. So going to just zoom into the digital driver's display on there. This is a screen that greets you as default as you get into the car. As you can see, there's little two flashing lights at the top. That's part of the attention monitoring assist. So that's monitoring my body language, my angle of my head, for example. If it thinks that I'm getting drowsy, if it thinks that I've been driving and not had a break in a while, it will bong. It will give me all sorts of messages saying that they recommend I go take a break. It can even program the sat nav automatically to the nearest service station so you can pull over and take a break. If for any reason you do fall asleep at the wheel, hopefully you don't, but if you fall asleep at the wheel, the car will know that. It will use all of the assistance systems and it will slow you down. It can bring you to a stop, and it can even, when the conditions are right, it can even actually put you, for example, if you're driving along a motorway on a hard shoulder, it can pull over into that lane and get you out of harm's way. But again, there are conditions that have to be met to do that. As I say, this is a screen that greets you when you get into the car. For those that have had Mercedes before, or you know, obviously if you've seen other videos about Mercedes, this look will be very, very familiar. This is Mercedes' sort of classic default look in their range of modern digital drivers clusters. As you can see, on the left you get your miles an hour as usual, and then on the right, where you would have a rev meter, obviously for a combustion car, you get a percentage of your power, so obviously 0 to 100%. The harder you mash your right foot to the floor, the more that needle will go up. Starting from the left though, so at the bottom there, or just where my finger is there, 203 miles, 64%, so it's saying at the moment, sort of 203 miles is what I can achieve given the current circumstances. Next to it, just now where it says maximum 230, that is the best possible range I can get out of this car right now if I was to do things like not drive with the lights on, don't put the radio on, don't put the climate control on, things like that, just to, like, literally just driving approach. That's the best range that I can get. Time just below that, that's your time of day. Bottom middle ready, I do have the equivalent to the ignition on, ready to go, so that just tells me that all systems are good. I can put it into drive and drive away. Just coming to the bottom of the rev gauge now, 15 degrees, obviously that is the weather outside. Where it says no recuperation, so we're looking just there now, no recuperation, that is the status of the regenerative braking. Regenerative braking uses the electric motors. When you're freewheeling, it will turn those electric motors into generators or dynamos. That then sends electricity back into the battery. It's a way of gathering energy that would otherwise be lost if you were driving a combustion car. It's almost like one pedal drive, so you can use, depending what mode of regen braking you're in, it's noticeable, and it will slow you down quite a bit, and it will put juice back into the batteries. You're not going to fully recharge a car by doing this, but as I said, it's designed to capture energy that would just otherwise be wasted. So it is a really good system. While I think we have to put it into a drive mode before I can actually change what level of regen braking we're in. But to do that, you use the paddles on the steering wheel. So these paddles aren't to be confused with gears. Obviously, if this was a combustion car, these would be for the gears, but this is an electric car, so these actually change the level of the regen braking. To change the level of regenerative braking, you do actually have to be in a drive mode. So I'm just going to put my foot on the brake for the moment. I'm going to put it into drive, which you do on this stalk down here, so push it down. We're now in drive mode, and now I can use the pedal. So if I press the up pedal, intelligent recuperation. So what that does, it's not as severe as one of the other modes, but that monitors your driving conditions. It uses the cameras and the sensors, and it can intelligently, I can't even say the word, it will cut in when it needs to. When it, for example, if you're just freewheeling and you're coming up close to a car in front, instead of putting the brakes on, it will use the electric motor. It will activate the regen braking just to slow you down a bit without actually using the brakes. For those who are wondering, well, hang on, if the car's braking but you're not pressing the brakes, does the brake light come on? Yes, the brake light will come on when the car is under regenerative braking, so you're not going to worry about people coming and smashing into the back of you. I'm just going to put it back. Actually, I need to go through the other modes. We now go into the minus pedal. So normal recuperation, that is very, very basic. It's very subtle. You don't really feel it as such when you're going along. That is more just like freewheeling. And then strong recuperation. So as I said, that is the one that you do feel, not fully one pedal drive, but it does slow you down considerably before you don't have to take over using the brakes. And so, you know, all electric cars do have this feature. I'm just going to put it back into intelligent one, and I'm just going to put it back into park, just so we don't go away. On the far right down there, you'll see a little green E. That is that's your drive mode. To change your drive modes, we use the little under dynamic. We can select, so you've got eco, so you've got eco in there. You'll have comfort, so that goes into little C, sport, individual. There's also an off-road, but we'll get more onto that when we get onto this into the central screen. R, N, D and P, that is the status of your drive. So if you're in drive, that will be in D. N for neutral, R for reverse, P is in park mode. This, as I said, this screen has a lot of customization. As I said, this is the screen that greets you when you get into the car. At the top left, that is your traffic sign recognition. If I can actually speak properly. At the moment, it didn't detect any signs because I'm on the private land at the moment. There weren't any road signs, so it's just blank at the moment. But if you're going past, for example, like a 60-mile-an-hour sign or 40, 30, 40, whatever, that will appear in there. That then sort of ties me on to the intelligent cruise control speed limiter, which is this little symbol in there. You can have it on just the limiter, you can have it on cruise control, or you can have it where it does sort of both. It's adaptive cruise control, meaning that you can control the distance between you and the car in front. To do that, you use the buttons on the lower half of the right hand of the steering wheel. To cycle through speed limiter, cruise control and everything, you press the limiter button, and then as you'll probably see, so you've got limiter, and then you use set and minus to go up the range. If I press limiter again, it goes on to the adaptive cruise control and the sort of the smart drive, and then you can, obviously we're not moving at the moment, so I can't actually show you there and then, but you can set the speed we're going, and it will keep to that speed. It will also keep to the distance, and then you do the distance control just by that button there, and then as you can see just in there, that little graphic right at the bottom, just sort of down there, you can see I can be very far away, close, closer, and full on up your ass. There we go. So let me just put that. I'm not gonna. I like to have it about there just to give me a lot of time to, just to sort of prep myself, especially if you're in wet conditions. As I said, it's adaptive cruise control, so it has a radar system on the front, and that will keep you a safe distance from the car in front. It's stop-go cruise control, meaning that it will bring you to a stop. If the car in front of you stops, you stop. When the car in front accelerates, it'll accelerate. Quickly going back to, as I said, the traffic sign recognition, that ties into the speed limiter. So when it's on that mode, if for example you're in a 30-mile-an-hour and it increases to a 50-mile-an-hour, the system knows that it will automatically up the speed to that speed limit on the road. Very, very clever system, and it just takes stress out of especially long driving. Miles an hour, you do get a digital readout pretty much on whatever screen you're on. That's symbol there. When that symbol goes green, so when you've got both hands 10 to 2 on the wheel, that symbol will go green. You do need both hands on the wheel to activate a lot of the drive systems on here, just obviously to make sure that you are alert. And then just on there, that's your lane keeping assist status. So if you're going over if you go over the lines when it's active, it will give you some steering assist and vibrate just to sort of keep you in the middle of that lane. Again, it just takes the stress out of longer run driving. It gives you a kilometers a mile an hour readout on there, just for whatever reason, if you need a kilometers a mile an hour readout. And then that's that. And then going through the middle there, so you've got some driver stats on there. So 1,568 miles, obviously being a demo car, that's how many miles that this car has done since it was registered in the later part of last year. There is options that you can choose to have in that middle screen, and then you do that by using the up and down arrows in there. So if I scroll, why does it keep coming up with that? So if I scroll down, so I've got some EQ sort of readouts on there. Right, it says 27 minutes. That just means that the ignition's been on for 27 minutes, but obviously I haven't moved, so which is why it says 0 miles. 1,204 miles per, I don't know what WH is, but it keeps going up. Going down, some more, so that's EQ averages and stats over a period of time. Eco display, so this is part of your eco coat. So there's a little ball, as you can see in there. When you are driving economically, it gives you a 5-star rating depending on your driving style. The more eco you drive, or the more economically you drive, let's use the right English here, the greener that display will come, obviously the more stars you get. If you're a really harsh driver, so you're really harsh accelerating, you're harsh on the brakes, that will all go red, you'll get less stars, and it'll basically shout at you saying that you've got an electric car, but you're still driving it like it's got a 5-litre V8. So just, that is really good. I mean, if you're on an economy drive, maybe a little bit, got a little bit of range anxiety, have this display, and it just gives you some little tips and tricks as well of how to really maximize that range. Scrolling down again, so this sort of goes back to what I said about what range I can do, and what the best range I can do is. This is just a different display here. So as it goes, 202 miles is what I've got left in the battery, although if I drive really economically and have nothing on, maximum I can have is 230 miles. Minimum, so for example, just right now it says the minimum I can do is 153 miles. That is based on, I've got the radio on, I've got the air conditioning on, I've got my heated or cooled seats, I've got all my infotainment screens on, my passengers got them in. You get the idea. So that's just a nice little graphic on there. Scrolling down again, from start, if anyone knows what WH stands for per miles, please say, because I've no idea. Obviously, when you drive an electric car, you work with different units. You don't work with miles to the gallon and things like that. You work with, normally it's miles per kilowatt, but I don't know what, and this is watt hours per miles, no idea. Let me know in the comments. Scrolling down, this is the attention assist. So again, you can have it on this screen. It will give you stats of when you had your last break, how long you've been driving. If you've got all of these, as you can see, you've got a green circle there. If all the little segments are green, you're good. If they're off or they're red, you've been driving a bit too long, it thinks you need a break. Scroll down again, so this is where you can scroll between your radio stations or your music if you've got your Bluetooth phone connected. At the moment I've got nothing connected, which is why it says no signal on there. And then scroll down again, you have a map. And for those again who've seen my videos before, I like having a sat nav screen right in the middle, because going from, it's just a bit, I just find it a bit better doing that rather than keep looking down there. But everyone's different, that's not a bad mark to Mercedes at all. It's the same. I mean, loads of cars you can have a screen there or there. It depends on your driving style. I think that's all the screens on this one. Let me just double check, because obviously being a EQS, you get more screens than what you would do in a sort of a lower spec Mercedes. No, that's everything. Cool, right, that's that screen. Believe it or not, there's more screens that we can talk about, and we activate those screens using the little home button on the top left of the right hand side of the steering wheel. So let me just press that. I'm going to start off all the way from the left. I'm going to work our way across. So understated mode. So this mode is pretty cool. So as you can see on the left, you still get your miles. It's the same layout near enough as the dials we've just seen. But as you can see, it only goes up to 20, and then there's no numbers in that range. That's because when you accelerate, the numbers only appear when you're in that range. If, for example, you're doing 70 miles an hour, and the needle will be up here somewhere, you'll see the numbers in that sort of portion of the range, but then this part will disappear. It's just something really fancy. Again, that's just I know Range Rover did this with their when the 2013 models Plus came along, when they had digital dash. Even going back, the Jaguar XJ had a very similar display on here. It looks really nice. It looks really premium. It's just something that enhances that experience. Going on the right on this particular display, you then get a clock rather than a boost readout. You can change the color of these dials, and you do that just by swiping up and down on the OK. So if I do that, you can have them in this sort of creamy yellow. You can have sort of like a turquoisey, a darker blue, purple, this reddy orange, a deeper shade of purple, and then a different sort of shade of turquoise. That also changes the ambient lighting as well, but we'll get onto that when we get into the central screen. That's that. Sports screen. So bang in the middle you get like this flying saucer thing. That is your G reading. Obviously, how many G's you're pulling in corners, accelerating, decelerating. Left, you've got just a different sort of a power range readout, and on the right, that will be sort of how much juice you're putting back in the battery, how much brake force you've got. In terms of customization, that screen is what you get. Maybe what classic is what we've already been through. Navigation, so you can have the entire screen being a navigation screen, although obviously you have got a massive screen on there. I mean, even your passenger can have a sat-nav screen on their screen as well, so you could have 3 screens all showing the sat-nav. So that's just if you want a full-on view. Obviously you still get all your necessary information that remains there, it's just a different screen. Going across, assistant screen, this is a screen that I personally like it in all the time. So this is your assistant screen. It will, for example, when you've got your cruise control and everything active, you'll have all different sort of readouts. It will detect where the cars are, for example. But again, unless that must be a ghost car, because as you can see, there's nothing ahead of me. So at the moment, it's detecting a ghost car in front of me. This knows where turns and roundabouts on things are as well. It will know what lanes are in, so it uses all the sensors in the car. So for example, at the moment, I'm in the middle of a car in just a plain car park, but if I was on a motorway, a dual lane motorway, it will show me the lanes of the motorway or whatever road you're on. If you're approaching a roundabout, there'll be a little roundabout, and then if you're approaching a junction, there'll be a junction there as well. It's a really clever system. As I said, you get little blue cars or lorries. It knows the difference between cars, lorries, motorbikes, even pedestrians as well. So that's just like a little visual. This is letting you see what the sensors are seeing. This gives that little bit more reassurance as well. It's a really nice readout. And for someone that loves, for someone that's a nerd that loves the tech on cars like I do, I love this screen. And then the last screen, the last 2 screens actually, off-road. So where are we? Being the SUV, you do get an off-road screen. So on the left, you get your angle, which I really like. So obviously, if I change the steering wheel, you can see that the angle of the steering changes. You can see that I'm at a 3-degree sort of slant to the right. Compass in the middle. You get your references there, and then you get your you still get a power reading on there, and sort of how it says at the moment. I'm also sort of a 5% downwards tilt as well. So that's quite a nice screen. This is a very luxurious car. Don't see why you would want to take it seriously off-roading, but if you do, if money's no object, then the sky's the limit, isn't it? So that's that screen on there. And then the last screen is just your service screen. So as you can see, you get your battery temperatures, your outside temperatures, tire temperatures, things like that. It tells you when your next service is due as well. That is, I'm just going to put it back onto that screen for now. That's the screen, guys. Going to move on to the steering wheel. Let's just zoom out this one. So as you can see, very nice steering wheel. You can have different, this has been spec'd with the sort of creamy colour, although you can have different colour interiors. Obviously on the right, we've already been through what the controls do on the right. On the left, this is your media control and your phone control. So you've got a little back button there to go back either on that screen or for your central screen. You've got another OK left and right buttons. You've got a home, so if you press the home button, that goes back to your home screen on the screen. Answer, hang up, volume sliding up and down, press the button for mute. Star, so that star one, you can program, so when you press that, you can program that button to do whatever function you want. So for example, you might want it to, for example, press that, it accesses the climate menu, for example. That one there, that's your Mercedes speech system. So when you say, I'm not going to say it because if I do say it now, it will activate the system, but you can press that or say, hey Mercedes, and it will that's your voice assistant. Again, really nice design, not too thick, not too thin, really nice ergonomic, yet really nice sort of gloss. But it is plastic, but it is a really nice plastic. Obviously your Mercedes, nice, very shiny Mercedes logo in the middle. Stalks left and right. Then you've got your indicator and your windscreen wipers. That mode there is your automatic wipers, and then you can force it obviously really fast on there. Rear wiper, you've got washer and rear wiper activation there, and then obviously you've got your flash for your no, you can't really see that, but look, if I flash, it flashes on the car on the screen. So that's just another little cool thing that Mercedes have thought about on there. And then on the right, as I said, that's your drive stalk. So you have to put your foot on the brake before you activate the stalk. Push it down, you're in drive. Push it up from drive, you're in neutral. Push it all the way up again, you're in reverse. And then you just press the button on the end there to activate park mode. Right, guys. Actually, just need to quickly talk to you about the heads-up display. Obviously, it is. Let me just zoom in a bit. You can sort of see the heads-up display there. I'll just go through how to access all of those settings there, guys. So just zoom back in. So just going back onto, so press that home button again on there. Scroll up on the OK button, and then you can see you can scroll through a whole load of options there. This is your head-up display options. So you can have the head-on display on or off. I like heads-up display, so I'm going to keep it on. Settings. So you go into settings. We can just press the OK button, and then you can select how far up or how far down you want the display, and also how bright you want the display. Eco display. So let me just select that one. So as you can see now, I've got this little ball in the top. That's just a representation of what I already said in terms of your eco ball. I've done about 4 stars now, because I've filmed this bit on a separate day. In case you're going, hang on a minute, he only had 1 star a minute ago, why has he now got 4? So there we go. Scrolling around again, so I can have an off-road heads-up display, which is very good. So at the moment you've got different tilt angles, compass direction, things like that. Augmented reality, so that's what I mentioned about the arrows and where you need to go in terms of the road guidance. Obviously, because I've got no guidance going at the moment, I've got no information, but when there is, that will appear on there. Standard mode is literally what you see before you, is your miles an hour, your speed sign recognition, and the status of your assistance systems. Sport mode, that's just another little representation of what we've already talked through already. And then minimal is literally speed, and then that is all your settings on there. Right, guys, so on to the touchscreen element of the massive hyperscreen. This screen that's in front of me now, that is the screen that will greet you when you get into your car. You've always got the map right in the middle, which is very handy, even though you're actually not on the separate navigation page. Just going to go through what's on there. So at the very top, obviously, you've got your times. My phone's connected, so you've got your signal information, whether you've got a 4G or a 5G connection. At the top, you can search different things on the car. The little man circle button there, that's your Mercedes Me profile. Obviously, because this is a demonstrator car, it hasn't got a Mercedes Me profile, but if you've got the Mercedes app, set yourselves up, you can then have a profile for the car. You can save different settings and things to your profile, so every time you log in, the car's settings will change on the ones that you had. So you can have multiple users, like you would on a computer. You'd have multiple users who may have multiple settings on that computer. It's exactly the same system or format on here. Android Auto at the top right there. I've got a Android phone, which is why it says Android Auto. This does have Apple CarPlay as well. And then right there, that just means that I am getting readouts, audio readouts about my traffic sign recognition. At the very bottom, you've got some of the basic climate controls. Now, whatever screen you're on, those climate controls stay there, which is very handy because it means you don't have to access loads of different menus to get to your basic controls. There is still a separate climate controls screen, but I said your basic controls that you'd use while you're driving, things like changing the fan intensity, changing your temperatures, activating the rear heated window, or defogging your front windscreen. So left, it's dual zone as well. Obviously, you've got your package in the back as well, so your passengers at the back can control their own climate. Let me just go through, actually while we're on climate, let's just go through the climate menu. So we're going to go onto the climate menu, so that button is always down there, so we press that, and then this brings you to the climate menu. You've got a number of options at the top, so we're going to start off with the front row of seats. Like you would on a conventional dial, you've got a digital version of your climate, so you've got your left passenger seat and your right driver's seat. You can select where you want the airflow to go, so you can, let me just go in a bit there. So the very top ones, that's so the airflow goes onto your windscreen, so it can defog and demist your windscreen. Middle ones are upper torso, and then the lower ones are your legs. You can have all three selected, so you get a balanced airflow, but that's obviously up to you, depending there. This bar here, that is to turn the actual system on and off. At the moment it's off, but if I press that button there, everything sort of comes alive. You can see now that you've got airflow sort of representation on there. Sync means you're syncing the dual zones together, so whatever temperature I have my driver's side, if I can show you there, it will change on the passenger side as well. Just very quickly actually, when you change the temperature, the ambient lighting, have a look at this. So if I go down, it goes blue. If I go up, it goes red. Just another little sort of small thing that Mercedes have done just to up that experience. Air conditioning, obviously you can manually turn that on or off. At the moment it's just in fresh air mode, so all that's doing is pulling in fresh air from outside. If I put the actual air conditioning on, that will engage the air conditioning system on here. Takes about a minute or two just to kick in fully, but when it does kick in, it is really nice. Eco on there, so obviously as we know in electric cars, if you've got the air conditioning on, if you've got the heater on, you will use your battery power. If you put it onto eco mode, so you've got eco and eco plus, that just means that you can still have your air conditioning or your heater on, but it does it in a way that saves as much battery as possible. It's less efficient when you do put it on eco mode. For example, if you want to demist your windscreen and you've got it on eco plus mode, it will take a fair while, because for scientific battery reasons, there we go. But you can, if it's, for example, if you're going on a motorway and it's you're going too fast for the window to open, but it's a bit hot inside and you want to save your range, then you'd obviously activate eco mode. Heated steering wheel, that's that one on there, so if you just press that, you then have a heated steering wheel. At the top, as you can see, you have a range of different options, so you can control obviously your front dual zone climate. The second row of seats behind you can control their climate as well. At the moment it's on automatic mode, so that will automatically maintain a set temperature. Obviously you can see there you've got sort of airflow representations. Then the third row of seats right at the very back, you can just select how sort of hard and vigorous you want the fan speeds in there. So handy if you've got a dog in the back. Obviously if it's a hot day, you can keep your dog cool. But obviously if it's a cold day, obviously then you can keep your dog warm. Air quality, now this is quite a cool one. So this is a demonstrator car, so it doesn't have the you can put a fragrance capsule in this car. Now when you press air freshener, that will select, when you've got your climate control on, that will give a scent coming through the vent. So you can have all sorts of different scents. For example, one of them I think you can get is new car smell, so you've always got a new smelling car. As I said, this one hasn't got the pod in it at the moment, but just search Mercedes fragrance pods and you'll get a whole range of options on there. Ionization, now this one here, the interior air will be enriched with oxygen ions. So don't quite know how that works. I haven't done my homework in terms of that. I mean, I only found out that had it on there not too long ago, but that just enriches the air just to make it as sort of pure as possible. It's got a carbon, it's got a special carbon cabin filter, which lasts a lot longer than a conventional just sort of a foam filter you get in other cars. So when you are in this car, you are getting the freshest air that you can possible, which is very good. Obviously, if you're following a bus or a lorry, something that gives out quite a lot of fumes, having all this extra filtration, it just, again, it just adds to that premium experience that you shouldn't have to suffer from other people's fumes, because obviously you're driving an electric vehicle. Pre-entry climate control. So as you may have heard from my other videos, being an electric car, you can precondition the cabin. You can either have it nice and cool or nice and warm. You can control it on the app, or you can go into various settings on here. I won't go into it today because there's quite a lot to it, but you can program the car to preheat or pre-cool down at certain times of the day, which is very, very good. I do recommend doing that when you are plugged in charging though, because it's not going to completely drain your range, but obviously it will use some of the battery power to be able to activate this feature. That's your climate controls, guys. So I'm just going to press that home button in the middle there, which takes us back to the home screen. Right, so what we got? Mercedes EQ. Let's go on here. So this is your sort of your electric gadget readouts. Tells you your charging status. It gives you a nice little graphic there. Just tells me that at the moment I'm at sort of 53%. And 167 miles of range. DC maximum at the bottom, that tells me, given the current conditions, that's the maximum it can charge at the moment. Obviously, if the battery is empty, you can have a sort of a faster charger. Just sort of gives you a rough idea of what sort of charger you want. This does have ultra rapid charging. I think it's 20 to 80 in no time at all, but obviously that's dependent on so many different factors, so you're not always going to get the claimed recharge time, because it depends on temperatures and all sorts of weird and wonderful magic battery stuff. Charging programs and eco charge. So I mean eco charge, so some of you may heard that actually charging your battery only to 80% makes that battery last longer. In theory, yes. Obviously, if you charge it to 80%, you do get less range, but then if you're only going to use it for town driving every so again, actually you can get away with charging it for 80%. Being an EQS, you get one of the best claimed ranges currently on the market. So even at 80%, I mean, you're still going to get a decent amount of range. But obviously, if you're going on holiday, for example, where I am in Essex, going down to Cornwall, you definitely want to fully charge your car. You got a few options at the bottom there, so you can open your socket flap from the inside of the car. Once you've opened it, you can't shut it from the inside unless someone hangs out the window, as I found out when my passenger was playing around with it. We thought, oh, you can electronically open it, you can electronically close it. No, that's not right. So if your passenger opens your flap, you got to pull over and close your flap. I think, yeah, that's everything on that particular screen there. Range just gives you a nice sort of readout of where you could gain different parts of range. So at the moment it says that I could gain an extra 12 miles of range on top of what I've got claimed at the moment. At the moment it says that because I've got eco drive functions activated, that's given me an extra 11 miles on top of sort of what I could get. Interior restrict functions, again, that's things like restricting your air conditioning, massage function for the seats, all sorts of things like that. So it tells you where you can save range, which is very, very good. And then for those of you who love a graph, you get a consumption graph as well, again in units that I don't quite understand for electric vehicles, but if you love a graph, there's a graph. Lovely, that's that one there. Going on to navigation now. So this is Mercedes' own navigation system. It's evolved a lot over a few years, and now it's probably one of the best standard navigations to get up there. I mean, any German vehicle, obviously this is Mercedes, got BMW, and you've got Audi, things like that. Very, very good infotainment systems. Obviously, if you've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you'll probably use Google Maps or Apple Maps, but this is a really, really good standard system. It has all your lane guidance. It's very intelligent. It even knows where potholes are, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, I was driving along, it just says pothole ahead, which I don't know how it does it. I shall try and do some research, but there we go. not going to go through all the system on here because there's a lot to it, but when you set a destination, if you need to charge on the way, it will tell you the best charging stations, the ones that will obviously get you there the quickest amount of time, or you can select what type of fast charge you want. Again, very clever system. I like all the lane guidance. It also has what's called augmented reality, which I can't demonstrate it to you right now, but what it means is when you're approaching a junction, for example, or if you need to change lanes, there will be an image, a real world image, which uses the cameras at the top up there, which looks at the road ahead, and then you get a blue arrow which tells, for example, if I'm going along a motorway and it tells me to come off the motorway, there'll be an arrow with the real world road scenario in front of me pointing to where I need to go and what lane I need to be in. It's a very clever system. Some people say they get on with it, some people don't. I'm still adapting to it. At the moment I turned it off just because just for the sake of demos, so I don't keep getting pop-ups. Give it a go, guys. It's called augmented reality. It comes with the car. It's part of the navigation system. It is very, very clever. Phones, so I'm not going to go on to that because it's got personal information on there, but click phone, you've got the opportunity to connect your mobile phone via Bluetooth. Once it's done that, it will save all your contacts to the car. You can access various messages from the car as well, and obviously when someone rings you, you can answer hands-free, or if you need to ring someone, obviously it's just quick to tap it on the screen there. Radio, FM, DAB, obviously it's got a DAB radio in here, so you can access pretty much every radio station in the UK. Again, radio says what it says on the tin. I'm not going to click that, but you can just scroll through. Actually, I will just click it for the sake of transparency. There you go. You can, it's picked up all of your local and regional and national radio stations. So you've got. Let's just get rid of Kiss Street, shall we? Media. So here, this is where you can play your. That's where you can play your music that you've got downloaded to your phone, like I'm doing here. Android Auto, you can then select audio that's being played through your Android Auto system. Sound drive, you need to select a profile on your Mercedes Me, but that can give you various different tones and things when you're accelerating. Online music, so if you've got a Spotify subscription, you can play music via your Spotify subscription. This is a cool one. So this car has a TV antenna in it, meaning you can go through whatever TV station the car was picked up. So I mean, for example, we're in the UK here, so you get all your ITVs, Channel 4. I mean, there's loads of 4. All your Freeview. Sky, I didn't know you get Sky on it as well. Fantastic. So yeah, have a play if you get one of these guys. I mean Dave, there we go. Look, I mean, we could watch Top Gear, for example. Perfect. And then once that's tuned in, tap that, and now you've got TV in your car, which is very handy if you want to watch TV while you're charging your car. Let me get rid of that. I just need to mute that, otherwise we're going to have Top Gear playing in the background. There we go. Scrolling along, you've got Mercedes-Benz apps. So you've got when you're connected to your Mercedes Me profile, you'll get more options on here. You also get lots of games as well, but again, you've got to be just on a standard sort of guest profile, if you like. You don't get that, but when you're signed in, just follow all the instructions. Your dealer will easily talk to you and help you set that up. And then when you're signed in, you can control various functions from your phone. So you can check your tyre pressures, you can check your range. As I said, you can precondition your car. I mean, you can even remote control park your car. Unfortunately, I can't demonstrate the remote control parking because I think it's because it's a demo car. They've restricted some of the functions, which is annoying because I really wanted to show that. But just search Mercedes EQS parking and all sorts of stuff will come up. That's that bit there then. Comfort. Now this is quite good. So these are all your comfort settings for mainly your seats, but you've also got your ambient light settings there, and we've also what's called energizing comfort. So I will probably do a little short video on energizing comfort, but we'll go for it anyway. So massage seat, obviously it's not a proper S-Class if you don't have massage seats. There's loads, you've got all sorts of massage workouts on here that do all sorts of things. I mean, classic massage, that's just quite a nice part. I mean, one of my personal ones, where was it, was deep workout. That's a really nice sort of thumbs in the back of your back. You can activate it, either your passenger or your driver. Your passenger can have a different program to what the driver's got, which is very, very good. As I said, it's not a vibrating massage like you get in some other cars. It's an actual proper, it feels like you've got someone like really digging into your back. It's really nice. It's the full range of the back of the seat as well. So I mean, for the program I've got it on now, it starts at the bottom and it sort of works its way up and down your back. It's really nice. Obviously it does work while you're driving, but obviously just be very cautious of your surroundings as well. Don't let the massage system put you off driving. Seat settings. So seat kinetics, I featured this in the C-Class that was actually the first vehicle that I featured on this channel way back in 22. I still don't fully understand what seat kinetics do, so not to embarrass myself or Mercedes, we'll just skip that one there. Lumbar support. So normally on some cars, I mean, for example, our seating controls are down here, not here, not down there on the seat. You do get an extra thing for lumbar, but on here it's all electronic. So for example, for the driver, I've got my lumbar set maximum out, but at the moment it's right at the top, but I can set, I mean, obviously I'm 6'5", so my lumbar is right at the top, but if you're a little bit not so tall, then you can move that. You know, you can move the lumbar how far up and down you want, and then you can sort of select it how in and out you want. But I like a good lumbar support, and especially in here, the amount of flexibility in the lumbar support is really, really nice. Seat bolsters, so that's how tight or not tight that the seat hugs you. I've got it pretty much bang in the middle. It's so that obviously if you go around a corner, maybe a little bit too sharp, obviously thanks to the rear wheel drive steering as well, I mean, you can attack corners at, you know, you do feel it, let's just say. So I've got mine about 5, which is very good. Obviously if you're a slightly larger build, then you just reduce the sliders on there. Heating settings, so here the heated seats, you can select the balance of which the heat is applied. At the moment the gauges are right in the middle, but I can have it bias all the way to the back, bias all the way to the rear end, or we can have it bang in the middle, which is what obviously it comes with as standard. Position seat automatic. Now you can only do this for the driver's seat, but you can put in your height, whether that be centimeters or inches. When you press start positioning, that will adjust the seat accordingly. It will also adjust the steering wheel accordingly, based on what the car thinks is the ideal driving position for someone of that height. To me, it's pretty much bang on. So I'm 6'5", and you know, I pressed that, and I didn't have to make any further minor adjustments. It was perfect first time, and yeah, it's just an amazing feature there. It's unfortunate. I mean, maybe they'll let the passenger also do that at some point, but at the moment it is just on your driver's seat. Ambient lighting. Now, this is one of my favourite features. Not just in any Mercedes vehicle, but just vehicles. You know, premium vehicles tend to have a nice ambient lighting experience, and obviously in an EQS you get that plus more. So colour, you've got multicolored. So at the moment, I mean, you can just see it at the moment, the setting I've got it on, you've got pulses of different shades of blue, you've got some yellows.
May I help you?
Go away, Mercedes, thank you, please stop. Sorry, that was the Mercedes cancel.
Unfortunately, that didn't work. The internet connection seems to be insufficient at the moment.
Okay, so that basically that just tells you how sensitive the voice control system is, and it can sometimes butt in at inappropriate times. But anyway, back to the video. As I said, multi-colors. So I don't think the camera, I don't know if you can just see that on the camera. there's like a swaying, like a wave like function on this particular setting, going between different shades of sort of blue, turquoise and yellow. But you know, there's tons of options on here. There's your blues and your pinks. That's quite a nice one in the dark. Just have a play with it, guys. There's you know, it's so nice. This particular one in the top left, that is your energy shine. So when you are accelerating, decelerating, or when you know the regen braking is activated, you get. I'll try and do a video. You when you're accelerating, it pulses one way. When you're braking, it pulses the other way, and it just sort of changes. It reacts based, and it also reacts on how sort of sharp you're turning corners as well. It's very clever, and again, it just adds to that premium feel. You know, you are in a premium luxury vehicle, and it just makes the driving experience so much more pleasurable. If you don't want any of the sort of the color changing colors, you can have a monochrome approach, which is literally just a plain color. So for example, I've got a nice yellow on there, and even though it's very bright today, you know, this is maximum brightness, but that's a really nice bright. I mean, for example, you know, I mean, pink, purples, you got your blues, so you can have, oh, where are we going? You can have up to, what was it, 63 colours on there, but I'm going to have it on that sort of blue and yellow. That's my favourite. Brightness does what it says on the tin. Effects, so depending on what you do in the car, or depending on what sort of feedback you get from the ambient light. Operating feedback, I don't want any of that. There we go. So you got greetings, climate and voice assistant. When that's activated, for example, when I showed you, when I increase the temperature, you know, you get a sort of a red. When you decrease, you sort of get a blue, which is quite nice. That's ambient lighting. Energizing comfort, I'm not going to go too much into this because I will probably do a separate video for sort of for the comfort settings, but let's just go. I mean, these are programs which are different sort of visual, audio and lighting experiences. If you just want to, you know, if you're not even if you're driving, if you're waiting for the vehicle to charge, you can have a warm, cozy warm by means of heated seats and surfaces with yellow orange lighting. Refresh, green brew lighting and a cool refreshing breeze. So, you know, there's all sorts of things on here. Forest glades. Again, I'm going to probably do a separate video on this, so I'm not going to go right into it now. Yeah, if I don't put a link up there or down or there, I will put it in the description below. Going back, that was all your comfort settings. Yeah, that's all your comfort settings on there. Off-road, right, being the SUV, you do get an extra setting on here. This is your, and setting and screen is your off-road. You don't get this on the saloon EQS. You do only get it on the SUV. At the moment, I'm not actually driving, so I'm not getting any data through these. Oh no, wait, no, I am. There we go. So in the middle you get your gauge of your angles. So at the moment I'm sort of a 4-degree angle pointing that way, and I'm at a 3-degree upwards tilt. Tells you the load on the suspension and sort of how high that wheel is on the right there. On the left, tyre pressures, which are all looking pretty much okay. You can then scroll through what sort of different off-road information you want. So tyre temperatures, they all seem alright. You got your maps reference on there. Also drive is what wheel's doing what at any particular time. And you're back to tyre pressures again. I might have it on drive actually. And I like to see what my suspension's doing. Obviously at the bottom you got a compass, and then right at the very bottom there you've got, if I click that opens up your rear camera, just to see sort of where you are in terms of there. DSR, so that's basically your hill descent. So if you're going down a steep hill, you press that and it maintains a speed of about 4 or 5 miles an hour, going downhill. It won't run away from you, which is very, very good. You can raise the car. So at the moment, I've clicked that. When it's orange, the car's raising. It does take a good couple of minutes because obviously you've got 4 massive airbags to fill with air to raise the level. So that's doing that now. Gonna go back, and then you can turn off various stability and traction controls on there as well. Information. Now again, if you're like me and you like graphics and readouts in your car, then obviously this screen is for you. At the moment we're not moving, but that is an overall status of the electric motors. As we know, it's a dual motor car. When you are driving, there will be a graphic which points towards the motors, which indicates the power going towards the electric motors. When you're braking or under regen, you'll then see the pulse goes towards the batteries, obviously indicating that you are putting juice back into the batteries. It will also show you what motor's doing what at any given time. So if you're driving along, if it's in 4-wheel drive, you'll see both motors. There'll be a graphic there. If it's only in front or rear wheel drive, again, there'll be graphics displayed on there. Going on to vehicle, this is just a sort of a example of what the suspension's doing, what your accelerator. So for example, if I put the foot on the brake, you can see that I've got a percentage of effort. If I put my foot on the accelerator, you can see I've got a graphic on there. That again, your suspension loads are sort of seen on there, and then on the left there at the moment we can see that we're in +1 of ride height because I put the car in its highest setting mode. When the car is in its comfort or low mode, obviously that then will be down there. That's that mode right there. Now we are going on to settings. So you've got all sorts of settings here, starting with your assistance driving settings. So speed adjustment, let's just go on to there. Distance assist, so I can adopt speed limits automatically and reduce the speed. So that's what I talked to you guys at the start. The intelligent speed limiter and the cruise control, the cameras are reading the speed limit signs. When it detects a speed limit change, that will then be automatically applied to the car. It does that based on obviously the speed limits that the camera detects. It also bases it on GPS, locate where the GPS system knows that there's a speed adjustment there. Active distance assist, so again that just maintains, that's basically your adaptive cruise control, based on dynamics under special. You can see where the functions to be. Yeah, so at the moment based on dynamic select, that's fine, but we can have it on dynamic all the time. Let's have it on dynamic, shall we? There we go. Let's have it on dynamic. There we go. Active steering assist, so here we go. That will give you a little bit of steering input to make sure you keep in the middle of your lanes. Lane change assist, so when you want to change lanes, if the car thinks it's safe to do so, it will change lanes automatically. I haven't got it to work yet, guys, because the factors in which it works are so strict. I just haven't been able to, even on what I would think is a decent road, I just haven't got it to do its automatic lane change. But it does still give you warnings. So obviously, just to be transparent to everyone that's watching, it does still give you warnings of when there's a car in your blind. So you do have a little triangle up there which will give you warnings when there is a car overtaking in the blind spot. So it does still detect that, but it just doesn't do the self move into the lane thing, which it says it does, in terms of what I've experienced today. And then your downhill speed regulation, that's already what I've mentioned in terms of your downhill assist. Collision avoidance, so ESP, electronic stability program, we know what that does. That will just basically make the car a little bit more loose and slippery. Active brake assist, so that will brake in a situation where you think you're not going to react. Active lane keeping assist and active blind spot assist, again, that's just turning on and off the systems that keep you in lane and checking your blind spot. Assistant, so traffic sign assist, again, that just means that's giving you warnings about different different changes in speed, attention assist. That's what I said right at the very start in terms of the monitoring of your of your drowsiness. Camera assist, I mean, I won't go on to that because even me, I don't play that particular setting. Parking, so this does have parking assist on there. Again, because it's a demo car, I think they've disabled it because it doesn't work. But it's a very clever system, and then you've just got a few sort of settings on there. Audio feedback, things like how loud you want the parking sensors. Maneuvering assistant, drive away assist, cross traffic alert. Basically, that just means that the car is being very much alert when you are parking. That's that one. Vehicle settings, so sound experience. So this will be why the car was singing to me. I'm going to turn it off. So when you're out in or outside the car, you will get some sort of audio experience, which you get with electric car, like a humming experience that plays either on the inside or the outside of the car. I was wondering why the car was singing to me while I was outside the car, and it was because I've just realised that it had sound experience turned on, which I now just turned off because it's not really loud, but obviously if you've pulled up at night and your neighbours are asleep, you probably don't want that playing, so I'm just going to turn that off for now. Winter tyre limit, you can set all your limits for your tyres when they think that the tyres are too full or too low. GPS based rising, so when I raise the car, it will save that location. So if I was to go to that location again, it will automatically rise or raise the car, which is very clever. Snow chain mode, probably don't need that here in Britain, but if you've got snow chains on this vehicle, it will change all the settings to be able to actually do that. Crawl. When the brake pedal is enabled, this function allows the vehicle to pull away slowly in D or reverse, even if the brake pedal has not been depressed. Oh yeah, so when you take your foot off the brake, the car will start to sort of move very, very slowly. Car wash mode, that just changes other various settings in there when you go into a car wash. Nothing really needs to worry about on there. Comfort mode, entry and exit feature. So when you turn off the car and open the door, the seat will move back a bit so that you can get in and out of the car very easily. The steering wheel will move into the dash a bit more, just to give you the most amount of room to be able to actually get in and out of the vehicle. Roof blind as well, that will automatically shut or open depending on when you lock or unlock the vehicle. Occupant protection, so obviously the top one, that's enabling the feature where it tells you who is in the back. Belt adjustment, so when you put your seatbelt on, I didn't know this until I was almost strangled. I put my seatbelt on, started the car, and then the seatbelt, it got rid of any slack in the seatbelt, and it sort of pulled me back into the seat. Wasn't expecting it, but again, that's just making sure that the car knows you're as secure as possible. It doesn't keep you in the seat, so it doesn't take hold of you and keep you in the seat. It just adjusts, but it is quite what I'd call quite a severe adjustment, and it did sort of throw me in the back of the seat. So just be very careful of that, guys. Opening and closing, so vehicle protection, automatic locking, acoustic lock. There we go. This is just to do with obviously when you do lock and unlock your vehicle. So vehicle protection are all your interior and exterior alarms. Automatic locking, when you move away from the car, it will lock automatically. Acoustic lock, when you lock the car, it will give you a little honk of the horn as well. It's very, very brief, but again, if you're coming home late or going early, you don't want to annoy your neighbours. And then automatic mirror fold in is when you lock the car, the mirrors will fold in automatically. Dynamic select, so here you can change all of the dynamics of various parts of the car. So drive, I can have it in eco, comfort or sport. I've got it in eco at the moment just to give me the best possible range. Suspension, comfort or sport, so obviously a comfort suspension will be very nice and sort of smooth. Sport suspension, the airbags go to stupid PSI, make it really, really firm ride. Steering, again, comfort or sport. Comfort's a nice sort of flowing motion, whereas sport is really really sharp. ESP, obviously we've already gone through what ESP stands for. I'm just going to turn that climate menu off, guys, because there we go. Light, so the digital light, so that's what, so the dynamic low beam, so again, the system doesn't just apply to the high beams, it also applies to the low beams, and the low beam can be adapted for certain weather conditions, just to make sure you are not blinding people coming the other way. Welcome and farewell projection. Now I love this one. So when you enter or unlock the car, the headlights will project an image onto the road ahead. When you get in, it's normally the Mercedes logo and Mercedes EQ, and then when you lock, it's the same. So here you can just select what sort of graphic you want displayed. Again, I did try to do a video, the camera didn't really do it justice, but if I don't manage it, just search Mercedes digital light animations, and I'm sure someone with better editing and camera skills has probably done it. Supporting projections, so on here the car can project certain information onto the road surface. So for example, an alert. I mean, I haven't experienced this yet, so I can't really comment on the particular feature. Exterior lighting, so locator lighting, so all your puddle lights and things will come on. Interior lighting, delay, I don't need to actually talk about that. You can just select the delay of which the lights come on or go off. Ambient lighting, we've already gone through ambient lighting, don't need to go through that again. System settings, so like you would, I mean, these are all your generic sort of software settings. So you've got your voice recognition on there, your brightness displays. Obviously you've got 1, 2, 3 screens, obviously then you've got another 2 screens in the back, so you can change different brightnesses. Home screen, you can select sort of what sort of layout you want for your home screen. Passenger screen, so the passenger screen at the moment I've got it at a Compass, but I can have it in a Mercedes concept car. I can have it on there. That's quite nice. Compass, clock. Can have it on pretty much whatever I want on there, which is quite cool. Going back, obviously all your language settings on there, keyboard settings, control elements, don't really need to go into any of that. Audio, you can change the different levels of the audio. Internet and Bluetooth, so this has got a hotspot, so you can hotspot phones and things in the back. And then you've got all your data protection stuff and blah blah blah. Time and date, that's what it says on the tin. Software update, so this has over-the-air updates, so when the car detects there's an update, press update, get out, lock the car, and the car will update. Doesn't take very long at all, actually. Since I've had a loan vehicle, I have had to update the software. It doesn't take long at all. Going along. That is everything on that screen, guys. It's going to go down now to just have another look at the different features of the interior of the EQS. Okay, let's have a quick look at the rest of the interior then. Obviously, there's a lot to shout about for this interior. It's, again, S-Class premium material. So we've already gone through the Hyperscreen. That is an optional extra, but an optional extra definitely worth having. Air vents, you get your 2 main ones up there. You get the traditional, I mean, these ones here have been on Mercedes for quite a while. Nice, almost like a jet engine type look to them. Obviously, you get the same on that side. Fully adjustable. You get your ambient lighting in there as well. So when you're driving, this sort of black area lights up to the colour of what your ambient lighting is. It is very, very nice. Just scrolling down to the centre console, you get a nice storage compartment with this sort of wooden effect lid. Just push that into the console there. You can see you've got, let me just get rid of my wallet and keys a second, hang on. You've also got some cup holders there. You can put your key in there if you want. You've got an NFC reader thing. You've got your USB-C charging cables. You get a lot of USB-C charging slots in here actually, and they are fast charge as well. So you do also get a wireless charger, which is in that gap there. The passengers get one. I'll go through a sort of like a back video as well for the screens in the back, but you've got one on there, and again, that just shove your stuff in there, that goes out the way. Here you've got a few again haptic buttons. So dynamic, that's where you go through your dynamic, but basically your driver settings. I need to turn the car on, bear with, let's just turn the vehicle on. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, you've got 5 options to choose from. So let me just go on the screen. So you've got Eco, which probably, what's it doing? There we go. Eco, which does what it says in the tin. This puts the car into its most economical setting, so you get a slower throttle response. So the car, it just feels it just feels a lot slower to react. That's because it's just trying to save electricity where it possibly can. Comfort, that's what I've always called like the Goldilocks setting. That's the setting that it defaults to when you get in and out of the car. Just make sure that everything's in its most comfortable setting. Increases throttle response by a bit. Sport mode, again, that does what it says on the tin. Everything that the car's got on it goes into sport mode. Just gives you really sharp throttle response, really sharp handling, really firms the car up. It feels like, I mean, you wouldn't know in sport mode that this car weighs in excess of 3 tons. And then going to independent, the screen doesn't stay on very long, guys, so I'm having to keep cycle through different modes to keep the screen on. Independent, you've got a little cog there, so you can, I mean, as we've already gone through, you can set the car up into whatever configuration you want. And then the extra mode you get, as I've talked about, because this is the SUV, you get off-road mode, which you can only activate if you're not on the road, obviously. That will mean you've got permanent 4-wheel drive. It will raise the air suspension by a fair amount, and it will, we've got torque vectoring on there as well, so each wheel knows what it's doing at any given time, and it can change power delivery accordingly. So it is a really good, you know, if you do want to take this thing off-road, you've got a level of off-roadiness on there as well. A few other buttons. So that P, that's your parking camera, so you can activate your 360-degree parking camera activated on there. This is, I mean, again, I've always said the Germans have probably got the best the best 360 camera tech on there at the moment. Because I'm sort of wedged between a van and a bush, it's not as good as what it would be, but as I said, the camera doesn't really do it justice. I'm just going to press that again to activate. I think I've got to be in a mode, haven't I? There we go. So I've got different screens that I can activate there. Let's just pop that in park again. I can have a front view, I can have a rear view, I can have a left side. These two particular angles here are very good if you're parking next to a curb. Also lets you know if you're in a space for having to open the door, so that's very good. You can have an automatic mode, so it will detect, it will select what cameras you think automatically. And then, well, that was that. Lovely. Parking assistance. So again, this car will park itself automatically. When you're going cross spaces, it will search for those spaces. If it thinks you can get into the space, it will give you some information, follow the instructions, and it will park you into that space. Again, I've just had this message saying currently unavailable. I've cleaned the sensors, the cameras, but nothing. So unfortunately, I can't show you that today, guys, which is annoying, but this car does have it. You can go one step further and have the remote control parking. So that means that you can remote control park your car from the app with no one inside the vehicle. I did that on the Hyundai or whatever they pronounce themselves. Ioniq 6. That was it. Ioniq 6. There we go. That had that feature on there as well. I mean, a lot of premium vehicles now do have that feature. EQ button, that's just a shortcut to your EQ page that we talked to you about earlier on. That car button, press that. That goes through some quick settings on here in the way of tiles. So head-up display, you can have on and off. Down here, again, these are just quick buttons. I can raise and unraise the suspension as well, so I can do a few things on there. That little square thing, that's a fingerprint reader, so you can have different fingerprints. So like you have on a Samsung or an iPhone, you can have different fingerprints. That button, that's just the off button for the system. That's mute, so you can mute whatever audio you've got. Volume up and down, and then you've got your hazard warning lights in the middle there. Storage wise, you've got tons of storage. So you got your traditional Mercedes 2-part folding cupboards. I mean, I'll open both of them. Really nice and deep in there. You get another wireless charging pad. So you've got 3 wireless charging pads in this car. So you've got another one right at the bottom down there. I don't know what you put in that gap, but that's a little bit of storage in there. Obviously, it's split folding, because if you've got your arm on that part of the armrest, but your passenger wants to get into the car, they can still press and get into the compartment, and vice versa, which is very good. You get storage under here as well, with a little strap, so you can secure storage, things like in there. Even more USB, so you've got you've got six USB-C charging ports just in the front alone. So if you've got a family who's got iPhones and iPads, want all charging at the same time, you are covered. Again, just going around some more. So down here, you got your handbrake. So Mercedes, even going back a fair while, a lot of Mercedes handbrakes have been a sort of a pull down there. So obviously it's got auto hold and everything on there as well. These are all your lighting controls. At the moment it's in automatic, but you can force them on or force them off, activate your parking lights, etc. You've got the premium sound system in here. These really nice aluminium. I mean, if I just zoom in, look at the craftsmanship on that. Obviously it's probably still done by a machine, but just look how smart that those speakers look. Absolutely brilliant. The sound quality in these speakers is unreal. I mean, even if it's bog standard equalizer mode, you've got really rich, crisp vocals, deep bass. Everything just sounds so very clear, and it's got a 360-degree system on here as well. I mean, we've got another speaker there. You've got another speaker. You've got the subwoofers in the front as well. Another speaker there. I mean, you've got loads of speakers, guys. Yeah, this is a really good sound system. I mean, if you just want to escape, this is the perfect car to just sit in, put the seat massager on, set the ambient lighting, recline your seat a bit, put your music on, and you can just use it as an escape room. It's just an amazing place to be. Seat controls on your doors, like they are on most Mercedes now. These here you can control. So this has the heated seats. So press that 1, 2, or 3 times for the level of heat. This car also has cooled seats. So there's a fan in the seats that will just give you a little bit of cooling on a really hot day. If you've got shorts on, that's good just to stop you sticking. So again, there's 3 levels of intensiveness. And then L, this is your memory function for the seats. So you can have up to three saved positions for the seat, depending on who's going to drive it, which is very handy. There's seat controls. You've got your headrest. That bit there's your headrest. That's your tilt forward and back. That's your up, down, and then pivot up and down. And then that's the extra seat bit that pops your legs up a bit. Door handle, really nice sort of door handle design. You're locking on there. As you see, ambient lighting continues all the way down the door. And then down here are your controls. So you've got your window controls and the door mirror controls. Now the door mirror controls are actually very intelligent. Traditionally, you would have to manually select left or right to, which you can still do on this car, to change the mirrors. But on this car, it does something that little bit better. Rather than select the option on there, all you have to do is look at the mirror that you want to change. Still use the little trackpad, and it will change that mirror. So you haven't got to select it. It uses the monitoring system in the dash that knows where you're tilting your head, basically. So if it thinks you're looking to the left, it will assume that you want to adjust the left mirror. If you look to the right, it will assume you want to adjust the right mirror. It's again just that little something that goes the extra mile. Obviously, being a EQS, really nice premium materials, build quality is very sturdy, actually, very, very good build quality. Right down there is your boot release. Just hold it to release it, hold it again to shut it. Nice sort of deep door bins there. Again, everything just feels solid and premium. I mean, there's ambient lighting in there, for crying out loud. The gloss black is really, really good. I do like this cream. Obviously, you do get cream. Let's just pick up a feel. You do get cream carpets as well. Some people might not like that because they get dirty quite quick, but you can get like black mats and rubber mats as well, just so you don't ruin the interior of your what is a very expensive Mercedes EQS. I mean, this particular model with the options it's got on it, you're looking at about 140 grand. So yeah, something you want to protect. Up here you've got your controls for your lights, so you can have that's your back lights on there, or you control your front lights. It's nice, sort of a warm white as well, not an industrial bright light. Even your ambient lighting goes across here as well, so you've got ambient lighting everywhere. This has a sunroof as well, and the sun blind. So to open the sun blind, you sort of stroke this bit. That then opens your blind, opens the blind on there as well. Then to open the roof, press and then stroke, and your roof opens as well. And obviously, just to close it again, stroke. I'm going to shut it again because I've got a bit more filming to do, and obviously there's still quite a lot of light coming from the top, so I'm just going to stroke it one more time, and then the roof shuts on there. Right guys, well, that's just a quick view of the interior from the back. I'm now going to hop into the back and do a video on the screens and everything on there, because again, luxury doesn't just stop on the front seats, it transfers to the back seats as well. So we'll see you in a sec.